In the summer, you probably find yourself spending a lot more money eating out. It's okay, it happens to the best of us. But with Home Chef, you can save time and money while still getting that dining out feeling. Home Chef provides fresh ingredients and chef designed recipes conveniently delivered to your doorstep to simplify your cooking experience. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 18 free meals plus free dessert for life. And of course, free shipping on your first box. Go to homechef.com/ratchet. That's homechef.com/ratchet for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/ratchet. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable. Y'all, I think last time we spoke, definitely I was in LA because I remember recording this and trying to keep my voice at a moderate level because like I'm in a hotel and I didn't know how thick the walls were. The person staying next door don't give one fuck about noise. Yesterday morning, they were blasting some sort of trap music at 8:30 in the goddamn morning. I had just come back from my morning walk. I got hungry on my morning walk, so I went to Egg Slut and got a good sandwich and didn't eat the bread because I had to go on stage later in the day. I can't eat carbs before I go on stage. Did you watch Creed? Do you remember the issue that Michael B. Jordan had before a fight would start? Similar issue. Take a Uber back to the hotel because I walked too far to get food. It would have taken another 35 minutes to get back. I didn't have that kind of time because I had to go into makeup at 10 o'clock because I had a panel at 2 o'clock. Not the point. The point is, I come back to the hotel. I'm in the bathroom trying to, like take a shower, wash my face, get my life together. And the person is blasting their music so damn loud that like I can hear it through the mirror. I was like, you don't give two shits about the sound, and neither do I. Watch them start up right now. It's 10:55. They ain't blasting no music. They must have stayed out late last night. LA don't stay open but till 2, so I am exhausted. Technically, I slept 8 hours and yet and still. I've been going nonstop since I got here. Like I got here on Wednesday. The podcast wasn't done, so I did that Wednesday night. Thursday, I had the welcome reception in the evening. I know some people from the outside looking in, most of this stuff doesn't feel like work. It's like, okay, like you hosted an event. Like you got your makeup done and put on a dress and went and stood on a stage and like talked for 5 minutes. I feel you. It's definitely not the equivalent of like, I don't know, swinging auto parts around a Ford factory. It's just a lot of mental work and also preparation to go on a stage and talk before a bunch of people. Even if I'm not winging it, I had a script. Technically, all you got to do is read from the page. But like, just to not fuck it up, to enunciate, to get the flow of the words right, not to stumble over your words, to keep your pacing right. Like it's an art form, really. It's a skill. It's one I haven't been doing for the last 2 years because I've been gone. And now I'm back in the swing of things again. Thank God for the podcast because it still keeps me sharp in terms of speaking and being off the cuff and staying witty under pressure. But it's still very much work. So I did the welcome reception for BET. I told you it was the welcome reception for the press. It was at a penthouse of a high rise in downtown LA. So the views were incredible. And it was a very rare, clear day in LA. So in between the skyscrapers downtown, you can see the mountains in the background. The whole time I lived in LA, I never saw that view. And I dated a guy for a little bit who lived in a really high up floor of one of those really tall buildings. And he had an amazing view of all the buildings and sunset over the buildings. I loved hanging out at his house, but I never saw the mountains because it was never clear, even during COVID. I know people are going to be like, wait, what? Who? It's not your business. But yeah, amazing views, amazing people. After the welcome reception, a couple of my friends came to hang out and we went to Joyce downtown. It's I say new because it didn't exist when I was living here. So new to me, at least. But it's a black owned restaurant. Expensive soul food. But the three of us split some catfish and some macaroni and cheese. And then one of my friends at the table, the health conscious friend, the very LA friend, she's lived here the longest. She was like, we need something green. So we ordered a Caesar salad to be responsible adults. Those are my first carbs of the day. That was Thursday. And then Friday, The panel that I was really excited about for BET Experience, Diara from Detroit, Tressa Smallwood. She runs her own production company out of PG County. And more importantly, so I knew she ran her own production company. People own all sorts of things. You don't know exactly what that entails. She owns her own production company and also owns all of the intellectual property for all of her projects. She used to be a school teacher, and then she was an author, and then she flipped her author money making her first film. So she and her sister and sister's husband and was like, hey, I need some money. And they were like, okay, we'll invest. She had her own money to do her own projects from the beginning. But she owns all of her stuff outright. Like she makes it and then she licenses it out to other people. And I was like, girl, what? She's talking about building a film studio in PG County. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, it's in the works. What? So the black owned studio is going to be like Tyler Perry, 50 Cent, and you? I was like, girl, what kind of money is you making off these production deals? She owns everything. I swear the best advice I ever got, and it's the hardest, when I was shopping this story, this treatment, basically about my life, about me moving to Ghana. We were in conversations with a well-known studio. And the lawyer for the studio was a black girl. And she hit me on the side and was like, hey, so the control that you want for this project, we've done a round of contracts. You're not going to get unless you own the intellectual property. And I was like, I don't own it, like based on the treatment. And it's like based on my life. And she was like, no. She was like, if nothing else, you have to write the pilot. Even if it's bad and they have to bring in somebody and pay them a whole lot of money to rewrite it because you wrote it first, you'll still get credit and a check for it. But she was like, more importantly, you write right, that's your thing. Go write a book about it so you have that intellectual property and then let them want to make an adaptation based on your book. And even then, you still write the bad pilot. And you won't have to be arguing back and forth with us about whether you're an executive producer. It'll just happen because you own the intellectual property. I feel you just want to move forward and get it done. But she was like, if you want to get paid, this is how you do it. I think that's what Tressa did. She wrote a book that did well, and then she wanted to turn the book into a movie. And she was like, why should I have somebody else do it when I could do it? So she wrote it and funded, produced it, and then shot it. And then once it was done, sold it. So she owned it. I was like, if you were a school teacher, right? And then you become this author, what you know about shooting movies? And she was like, I didn't. I hired somebody who did and was like, teach me how to do it. And that's how I learned. Is it that easy? It can be. She was like, yeah, I have like 30 projects. I was like, one, I was like, how old are you? And then two, I was like, wait, how long have you been in business? And she was like, 2016. What? I gotta do something different with my life. But I love listening to people's inspirational stories like that. And then last but not least, my friend Tembi Banks, she just had a new film come out on BET, literally, what we taped Friday, Thursday night. You might have seen it online. There was like a big splashy industry party here in LA that everybody and their mother went to. Sanaa Lathan is in the film. Mike Epps is in the film. It's on BET Plus. I've heard it's getting really great reviews. I've been avoiding the reviews because I don't want any spoilers. I'm definitely not going to get a chance to watch this movie before I get back to the East Coast. But Tembi was telling me about her journey. We used to work together at Essence. I was in a cubicle on editorial, and she was the next aisle over. She was on the team that was producing Essence Music Festival. And one day, like, she's packing up her office, and I was like, yo, where you going? And so she's like, I'm moving to LA. We're New Yorkers. We don't move to LA. And she was like, yeah, I got into film school. Girl, what? She had gone to LaGuardia. She wanted to be an actress. When she started getting into the field, she wasn't seeing the projects that she wanted. And her thought process was, well, I'll just create them. I'll write it. I'll find a way to fund it. Go ahead and shoot it myself. And then she did that and was like, you know what? That's what I want to do instead of producing live events. So she applied to film schools, got into USC, and was like, I'm out. That was over 10 years ago, maybe closer to 15. But she's worked on so much stuff, like Insecure. She was a director for sure. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Sex Lives of College Girls on HBO, tons of stuff. And then she just has this new film on BET Plus. It was a fascinating panel. I did my research. I went through all the clips so I have a working knowledge of who everyone is. There were a list of questions that BET sent over. I told you about that really bad panel when I was in ABFF. I was like, did she even read the questions beforehand? Like, does she know anything about the person she's interviewing? Because she had no follow-up questions. I say that sometimes about Shannon Sharpe's interviews too. If you don't have proper context for who you're interviewing, they could say something. You don't pick up on that nugget for a follow-up question or to ask something that would, enlighten the audience or get a great anecdote or, just make it, it's essentially a live event. Like people want to be informed, but they also want to be entertained. So when I interview, I try to do a bunch of research. Some people would call it unnecessary, but just so I have a working knowledge of who the person is. When I interview authors a lot, like there's just not enough time to like read their whole book. I don't have the brain power or the time to do that every time I interview an author. But if I have context of the who the person is and what their story is, and just a little insight into what makes them tick and what makes them think, when I'm talking to them, we're more so having a conversation as opposed to an interview. Like they call it an interview. Like technically what you're doing is interviewing someone, but when you're doing it for a live event, it's supposed to be a conversation. But it was really great researching one of my friends because I'm like, I have like 4-hour brunches and lunches and dinner with you when we lived in LA and whenever I come back to LA. But now I'm researching you professionally and there's 50 million things about you that I had no freaking idea. We're not friends because of what you do. We're friends because of who you are. We talk about work, but the how I got from A to Z, we never had that conversation. And I was like, oh wow, I feel like I just reached a new level of friendship with you. It was good. It was fun. It was work. Whoever was like, oh, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life, lies. Lies and fabrications. It's fun. I love it, but it's also still very much work. And then last night, Timby and I can't remember the name of the place, Costa Madeira. The venue is super sexy. It's a restaurant, a revamped version of the restaurant at the Mondrian. And if you've been to LA, you know the Mondrian is on Sunset. So it's set up high, like it's not in the hills, but the views from the Mondrian by the pool and the old restaurant, absolutely stunning, breathtaking. They revamped the restaurant to make it super sexy. It looks like something out of Entourage. It also looks like a restaurant I went to when I was in Kigali, Rwanda. Rwanda has 50 million hills, and so they got all these sexy restaurants set up in the hills, and the views are incredible from like everywhere. But it kind of reminded me of that, and I was like, oh, I miss Africa. I'm happy to be home. I am. But I miss being away too. I'm like caught between two worlds. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all carry around stressors, big and small. When we keep them bottled up, it can start to affect us negatively. Therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. If you are a listener of this podcast, then you know I am a huge advocate for therapy. I think everyone should be getting some, even the people that don't think they need it, especially the people that don't think you need it. My friend, you probably need it the most. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I love how easy BetterHelp makes it to access professional help. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/ratchet today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ratchet. In the summer, you probably find yourself spending a lot more money eating out. It's okay, it happens to the best of us. But with Home Chef, you can save time and money while still getting that dining out feeling. Home Chef provides fresh ingredients and chef-designed recipes conveniently delivered to your doorstep to simplify your cooking experience. Whether you prefer classic meal kits with pre-portioned ingredients and easy instructions, or speedy recipes in less than 30 minutes, or maybe oven-ready kits with pre-chopped ingredients, Home Chef has you and the entire family covered for delicious meals without the hassle. My favorite thing about Home Chef is they have over 30 options every week and they serve a variety of dietary needs. So you don't have to worry about what to make ahead of time, and everyone has something to eat. It's also economical. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 18 free meals plus free dessert for life. And of course, free shipping on your first box. Go to homechef.com/ratchet. That's homechef.com/ratchet for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/ratchet. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. I still haven't watched the presidential debates. When everyone who's an adult and acting like one was watching the debates, I was outside gallivanting and working. It's the welcome reception. The reception started at 5 on the West Coast, dead smack in the middle of the debate. I just seen the clips and I was like, yo, this is the best reality TV show I've ever watched. One old white man said to another old white man, "You don't have the morals of an alley cat." Then he said, "This is some shit you don't say to a person's face. Like you say about them, you talk shit." But Biden said to Trump to his face, other people have said it. He's not the first, he won't be the last. But he was like, "You were having sex with a porn star while your wife was pregnant." I'm just old enough to remember how offended President Clinton was that people were asking him as a part of a federal investigation about Monica Lewinsky. Like, y'all know my wife can see this, right? How dare you ask me these personal questions about my private life, whether it's for an investigation or otherwise, not on these cameras? Like, the fuck is wrong with you people? And now at an open presidential debate that's going to be seen all over the world, other countries watch it for entertainment. Again, America is the best reality show never written. He said, "You were having sex with a porn star while your wife was pregnant." I was like, if this ain't some Real Housewives reunion, some Atlanta shit. Woo. I'm very embarrassed to be American sometimes. Trump was out there talking about black jobs, and because black people can't take nothing seriously. Somebody made a list of like 100 black jobs. It was like waitress at Waffle House, referee in the spades tournament, working the grill with sandals and black socks, bouncer at the entrance for the cookout. I was like, why can't we take shit seriously as a people? And man is a raging fucking racist. And we find a way to laugh at it. It's laughing to keep from crying, but still, I'm saying this as I'm laughing. The debates, from what I've read and the clips I've seen, turned out exactly as what I expected. Biden was going to look like an old man whose cognitive abilities were failing, and Trump was going to be his obnoxious, boisterous, lying self. Like it panned out exactly like that. I didn't expect Biden to be as cognitively troubled, trying to choose my words carefully, as he came across. I'm not saying he is cognitively troubled. I'm saying he came across, very much so, is cognitively challenged. And it was so concerning that all of the major publications, not just Fox News and like the crazy right wing stuff, but more center CNN now and more liberal leading publications, Rolling Stone, I think, was one of them, were like, so what we's gonna do? Because Biden doesn't look like he's all there. It's like, are the Democrats really gonna run him for president? And I was like, what other options do we have at this point? And they were like, well, technically, the DNC ain't till August. Biden isn't really officially decided on. And I was like, how do you put somebody else in the game at this point? And who? Because it can't be Kamala. It can't. Like, it has to be a white man. As terrible as that sounds. America wasn't ready for a qualified white woman. They definitely not ready for a qualified black woman. Half of the country still can't get past a super qualified black man. We gonna add sexism on top of racism right now? I don't know what we's gonna do. I'm going to vote for Biden because Trump is completely not an option. I'd rather have someone with seeming cognitive issues at the helm who can surround himself with people who aren't having cognitive issues. I think Biden is, and not even I think, you can look at him and see he's slower from what he used to be. I'm not comparing him to someone else. I'm comparing him to himself. The way he was with Barack, all chipper and whatnot, that was also 10 years ago. That was a decade of life ago. He was in his late 60s as opposed to his late 70s. He's not as sharp. But I don't think not being as sharp, not being as quick on the draw means you're stupid. It just means you're not quick. It doesn't mean you can't reach the decision. It doesn't mean you can't form a thought. It's just taking you a little bit longer. But when you get to it, it kind of makes sense most of the time. Versus Trump, I'm like, you quick, but you ain't making no sense ever. You told us to inject bleach. We can't live through that again. Also, Trump is running around talking about he wants to be a dictator, talking about overturning Roe v. Wade was a really great idea. Now folks are forcing 12-year-olds who are victims of rape and incest to have babies. We real Handmaid's Tale out here, not getting to it, already there. I read the other day, I can't remember what state it was, it's trying to get rid of no-fault divorce. So if you're a woman, because women overwhelmingly are the ones who file, if you're a woman who wants to leave your husband, if they get rid of no-fault divorce, you have to prove that he's either cheating on you or beating on you in order to get out of the marriage. Otherwise, you stuck there. There's some other place you can't file for divorce for any reason while you're pregnant. Like you have to have the baby first. And I was like, so if he's beating on you and cheating on you and treating you like shit, you gotta stay with his ass? Cause you pregnant by him? What? We're going in the opposite direction. And we continue on that path and go even faster the wrong way if we vote for Trump or if we sit out the election. I totally feel people who say Biden has lost the moral high ground because of his stance with Israel. And Trump would do the same shit and worse. If Trump were in power, it would still be a genocide of the Palestinian people. Israel would still be bombing Palestine off the map. And we'd be dealing with even worse issues when it comes to women. We'd be dealing with even worse issues when it comes to race. I'm not really sure what the economy would be doing. And we would go back to that chaos every night on the nightly news. That shit was stressful and everyone was riddled with anxiety for years. Even if you think Biden is evil, Trump is 50 times worse. And I was reading that 2 Supreme Justices are likely to step down like in the next couple years. Trump has already put 2 or 3 crazies on the Supreme Court to go hang out with Justice Thomas. There's already enough crazies over there now. Trump gets 2 more. We are fucked forever. They're going to overturn everything that makes America moderately tolerable. I don't think it's far-fetched for them to like revoke women's right to vote, revoke black people's right to vote, try to put us back in cotton fields. Because when Trump was talking about black jobs, we made a bunch of jokes about it. But the black jobs that he's talking about Mexicans are taking, he was largely referring, I think, because he's a racist, I'm inferring this, to domestic work and field labor, picking crops. He does dog whistle racism so well. He said it like, oh, I'm concerned about employing black people. But what he really meant is, I see you as domestic laborers and field workers. And now y'all can't do what y'all are meant to do because the Mexicans are doing it. Or trying to like pit black people against the Mexicans. The Mexicans ain't oppressing me. They minding their business. I go bother them. I be all up in their restaurants trying to eat up all the tacos and guacamole. You don't really see a bunch of Mexicans in soul food spots. I'm not saying that to be racist. I'm just saying, like, when was the last time you went to a soul food spot and you saw like a Mexican family having dinner? Okay. When was the last time you went to a Mexican spot and saw a black family having dinner? All the time. Me and my mama and my godmother be the black family. And we ain't in there by ourselves. There's a bunch of us. I'm just saying. What else is going on? I haven't watched any TV. Oh, I've been watching Kevin and Melissa's wedding. This is not a TV show. I'm following all the Instagram accounts of all the people that are there. I did hear, I didn't see. I might have to go subscribe to Kev's Patreon page. I think they live streamed the wedding. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Kevin, what's Kevin's last name? His Instagram name is Kev on Stage. and his wife, Melissa, is Mrs. Kev on stage. What is their actual last name? Melissa Fredericks. The Fredericks. They've been married a whole 20 years. They decided to do a vow renewal in Mexico for their 20th anniversary. Honey, you know I love a budget well spent. They spent coin and they spent it well. It's so beautiful. So many GD flowers. There is a barren rose garden somewhere. Beautiful. The dress, Melissa's Stylish Germany. She styled me for Essence Black Women in Hollywood. I was like, is her number still in my phone? Because I want to know how much Melissa dress costs. I could just text Melissa, but I feel like she just got married, remarried, so she a little busy at the moment. Imagine if they had a remarriage, they also had a re-honeymoon. Ma'am, about to say some shit that's so inappropriate. Your kids is grown and almost out the house. Be careful on this honeymoon, unless you want to start all over with the children. But it's a beautiful wedding. They had all the guests wear shades of pink. The men really showed out in their pink suits. It's just been lovely. And then a lot of their friends are couples. So Tab and Chance are there. One Margarita, I cannot remember this lady's name for anything. I love her. Whenever I see her face, I'd be like, one Margarita and her husband, they were there. It's just been this amazing celebration of Black love. And I have been watching videos of this wedding. Melissa and her father was deployed when she got married the first time. So he wasn't able to make the wedding. So this is his first time seeing Melissa in a wedding dress. The daddy started crying. Pause. Her daddy fine as hell. I was like, if Melissa and Kev got married 20 years ago, they had to be in their 20s. At minimum, that makes Melissa 40. I'm going to go ahead and guess Melissa's daddy was at least 20, which means her daddy is at minimum 60. Her father, fine, slim, and with a whole wedding ring on. I was like, where his wife at? We need to see the wife too. Go to Melissa Page and look at her daddy. Seasoned. Well, Melissa gonna hear this shit and be like, oh my God. Ah. But it's a really beautiful wedding. And I've been sitting up here crying over this wedding. One, like it's a whole TV wedding, like it's scripted. And also, like these people ain't been whole married for 20 years with two damn near grown children. The children cried at the wedding too. It's been a really beautiful celebration of Black love. I'm very happy for them. I know I'm like gagging about like the budget and the beauty and the flowers and the dresses and the suits and all of those things. Like, but even beyond like the good money well spent. Amen. But even beyond that, like I think it's very beautiful that this couple found each other in their youth, in their early 20s. I've seen their original wedding photo. They were babies, but they found each other 20 years ago and they've gone 20 years, literally a life sentence. And then after that 20 years, they're still choosing each other. I think that's very beautiful. Got me a little sentimental. Might have me fuck around and believe in love again. I don't know about another husband. The husband wasn't the one that gave me pause on love, oddly enough. That was him. We don't talk to him no more, though. It's been almost a year. Next topic. Why is my mother texting me, I miss you? What has happened to my parents? This is not how I was raised. We are not an emotional or sentimental people. And now they become people who cry when I leave to travel, even when I'm gone for 2 months as opposed to like 7 or a year. And now randomly text me, I miss you. What's today, Saturday? Mommy, you saw me Wednesday. I miss you too, okay? Oh, because I know my parents. I'm an only child. My mother's an only child. My father is the only boy and youngest. When one parent does something, the other parent does something too. So if my father finds out that my mother said, I miss you, my father would be like, I don't have to say it. I always miss you when you're not here. They have a healthy competition with me. It's so bizarre. Like I said to my mother one time, I was like, am I the best thing that's ever happened to you? And she was like, I mean, you're high on the list. I was like, Mommy, the birth of your child was not the best thing that ever happened to you. Like, you created a whole human with your DNA. That's not the best thing. And she was like, I mean, it's up there, admittedly, but like the best? I don't know if I'd say it's that. Like, I need to think about it. So I asked my dad, I'm like, am I the best thing that's ever happened to you? And he was like, number one on my list. Everything. You're everything to me. My friend told me the other day, he was like, Who are y'all? You're like the fucking Huxtables. It was like, if only you knew. No, we're not. Speaking of family, we talk about Bronny and LeBron. People are pissed. People are pissed that LeBron found a way to get Bronny signed to his team, the Lakers. Sometimes I say things that are real specific, and people are like, you don't think we do that? It's an international audience. Everyone doesn't watch American basketball the same way we don't really pay attention to what we call soccer. Most Americans don't know who won the World Cup and what the name of the star player on that team is. That's why sometimes I over clarify. But yeah, Bronny is now a Laker, and a whole bunch of people are like really riled up, like fighting mad about it. They're like, it's nepotism. He only got picked up because his father is LeBron. Yeah, and you tell me what you wanted LeBron to do in this situation. His son wants to be a professional athlete. He has the means, the resources, and the connections to make that happen. What was he supposed to tell Bronny? Yeah, I could do it easy, but I'm not going to because I want you to go get it out the mud like I did. That's fucking dumb. Your kid has a dream, you can make it happen, but you're going to opt not to? Why? Helping build character? There's other ways to do that. Make him move some bricks around in the backyard. Demonstrate character. That's the easiest way to get your kids to do it. Not do as I say, do as I do. People be like, Demetria, you don't have kids. I was a kid. I have parents. I do a lot of shit just like my parents. I didn't notice it so much when I was living here, but now that I've been gone and come back, I watch my parents do stuff and be like, oh, is that why I do that? Okay. Like that crazy shit about like I get to a hotel and I have to unpack my stuff within 30 minutes. And when I get back home, I have to unpack all my bags within 30 minutes and go put stuff in the washing machine, blah, blah, blah. My dad does that. My dad has an internal GPS where once he goes somewhere one time, he knows how to get there. When I put my Google Maps on and I'm driving somewhere, I have to read through all the directions to know exactly where I'm going and the route that I'm taking before I go. I never thought about why I did it until I sat there and watched him do it. And I was like, oh. That there's no point in LeBron not taking care of his kid. Everybody else, whether you think it's right, wrong, or indifferent, is going to take care of their kid. And LeBron's going to be the one to be like, nah, I don't want you to be a Nepo baby. All these other people with famous and rich and well-connected parents, they get opportunities. But you're going to be different. I'm going to make you get it the hard way. For what? Why give your kids a disadvantage? I also ask people, especially those with kids, why do you get up and go to work every day? Especially for the folks who get up and go to a job that they hate. If you're not doing it for your children to have better opportunities, for you to be able to open doors for your children that weren't open for you, what's your purpose? All the doors were closed in your face and your life was hard. So you want your kids' life to be hard too? Why? You get off on like making your child suffer? Do you even like your kids? Genuine question. Couldn't sound like it. If you ain't gonna want to help them fulfill their dreams, it's one thing if you can't, if you can and just won't, based on GP, because that's all it could be. I see everybody else out here helping their kids, but I'm not gonna help mine. Fuck you, terrible ass parent. All right, that's the episode. We covered the highlights. We're never covering the Tonys. Now it's become a running joke. Hold on. Let me just give a shout out to this lady so we can get over this Tonys coverage and I can move on from my life. Because I only want to cover the Tonys really to talk about this one woman. Because the other folks I wanted to win didn't. Carrie Young. Y'all remember when I went to Broadway? I saw 2 shows in one day. I saw Pearly Victorious in the afternoon. And I went on and on and on about Leslie Odom Jr. as the lead character. And I was like, this is the best acting I have ever seen. He's definitely getting a Tony nod. But it'll be crazy if he doesn't win. He didn't win. But now I want to go see the show of the person who did win. Because I remember one point, stay with me, I'm bringing this full circle. I watched Lady Sings the Blues for the first time as an adult. And I was like, this is the best movie I have ever seen. I know it had to win an Oscar. I knew she was nominated. I was like, Diana Ross didn't win an Oscar? Who could have possibly won? Liza Minnelli for Cabaret. I hadn't seen Cabaret. And I was like, this is some bullshit. It's racist. Diana Ross was robbed. And my mom was like, you should probably watch Cabaret. I think I actually had to go get it on VHS at that point. I went and watched Cabaret and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. I still think Diana Ross should have won just on the GP of it all, but I completely understand. Like, Liza Minnelli left her soul on the screen for Cabaret. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Like not even because like, oh, she's a white woman and blah blah. Nah. She's really fucking good. So now I'm gonna go see the person who beat out Leslie Odom Jr. because it might fuck around and be really, really fucking good. We'll see. But in Pearly Victorious, there's a woman who plays opposite Leslie Odom Jr. and she was freaking phenomenal too. I was like, Leslie Odom Jr. has this 10-minute monologue that blew my mind, left his soul on the stage. The entire cast was also amazing. One of those people being the woman that played opposite him, who would be Kara Young, who won a Tony Award for Best Featured Actress. She's phenomenal. She's over deserving of this award, and I'm super, super excited for her. And that's why I wanted to talk about the Tonys. There's another show, Jocelyn Bio. She's Ghanaian. I thought her show might win too. She had a show called Jaja's African Hair Braiding, which was really, 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 really good. She was up for Best Playwright. Unfortunately, she did not win. You are a winner to me. You are number one to me, Jocelyn. I think her show won for Best Costume Design, which the costuming and the hair was absolutely amazing. Her show it's about four women who work in an African braiding salon, I think Uptown, and then all the tropes of people who come in to get their hair braided, like the person who falls asleep in the chair, the person who's loud and belligerent, the person who tells all their business. It's a really fun and interesting and smart show. I wanted it to win. It was also a beautiful show. It was a range of blackness, a range of our sense of style, whether it's hair or clothes. I am really happy for Jocelyn for that win. I still wanted her to win for Best Playwright. She'll have more chances because she's really smart and she's really good and she tells really great stories about Ghanaian women in Ghana and in the diaspora. Okay, that now concludes our Tony's coverage. It was driving me up a wall that I kept forgetting. And now I'm about to go down to the pool and edit this so I can have my day back, at least one day. Tomorrow's not work, but tomorrow's a busy day. It's the BET Awards. I go into hair and makeup, I think at noon, at 1, and the awards are at 5. It's not work, but it's work. All right. Talk soon. Talk Tuesday. I should be back in DC by then.